All right, starting the stream. I keep hearing it. Keep hearing it right out there. I don't know. All right, starting the stream tonight. It's the Memorial Day weekend, right? For if you live in the USA, it's the Memorial Day weekend. I'm just gonna wait for everybody to get. Oh God, that was not good. All right, I'm gonna wait for everybody to get into the stream here. Oh, that didn't feel too good. I don't know what is going on. This is all right. So I'm doubting my recent decisions in my life. Oh, that just sounds way too creepy. That sounds too creepy. All right, I am just doubting a lot of my decisions that I've been making recently, and even in the past, long ago, because everything kind of has a domino effect. It's like it's always like if you could turn back time, where would I be in life if I took this road instead of that road? And every decision I made led me to here. Okay, and was it a big mistake moving into this house? That's the big question, amongst other things in my life. But here I am now, dealing with, I guess, the pain and the reality of what could be a very big mistake of mine. And you guys have been just following me on YouTube. You see what's been happening in my life, whatever when I'm willing to share something, that is. But let's start with this first. You remember when I did a video recently? There was this strange sound outside, like this bird was chirping, and then we heard this roar, or it was like a deep sonic sound. Well, I learned what that was. I found out what it was. So if you watched that video and you heard this like chirping, and then it was like a roar sound afterwards, I found out what it was. That was the common nighthawk. It's called a common nighthawk. It's a nighthawk, and when it swoops down really fast, dives at the ground, the feathers make this vibration, and it makes this loud sonic sound, almost like a jet plane, like a fighter jet when it's breaking the sound barrier. So basically, the nighthawk flies so fast when it dives down, it does all kinds of maneuvers. It's crazy, and it makes that sound, and you hear it in the air, and it's like echoing, and it's like that sound comes from a bird. I know some of you guys out here were thinking it's a bear in the woods or something, but that's what it was. If you search videos online in regards to nighthawk sounds, nighthawk, you'll hear what I'm saying, and you'll know exactly what I was recording on video, and then you hear that sound afterwards, and I kept replaying it over and over. That's what it was, the nighthawk. Crazy things, I tell you. But there is something that's out here. I don't know what it is, but I hear it in the attic, okay? I did have somebody come here to check the attic out to see what was going on. They couldn't find anything. There is no like entry holes or any kind of like possibility for any kind of varmints to get into the attic, because the common problem in the attic would be like squirrels or raccoons or rats or bats. But none of that is like in the attic. But yet I hear the noises, the tapping, the banging, the popping, a lot of weird noises. I don't know, but here's where I feel like I've made a big mistake. This is why I'm thinking. Besides, the biggest, I guess it's a heartbreak for me to leave amazing people in my life so far away, but I felt like I was backed in a corner and I had no choice. It was things were just coming at me different directions, and I didn't know what to do at the time. And you get into this mindset, you start to panic, and it's like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm about to lose the house because of this, about to lose this, about to lose that. And it's not feeling safe here anymore financially because there is no protection. If you get all these medical bills to take your house away, you're homeless. You don't pay the real estate taxes. They take your house. Doesn't matter. Say if you owe like $8,000 or $10,000 and your house is worth a lot more, they could take your house over that amount of money and they don't give you the money. They can sell it at an auction. You don't get the balance on that. You can lose a whole entire home over $5,000-$6,000. That's how crazy it is. And I wanted to live in a different area where I felt like my home would be protected better, better medical care, just better job opportunities. And I had a job lined up. And so it was like all these things were like pointing to let's go. And I have been dealing with like for many years. It's seasonal affective disorder where I just cannot function. So like in the winter comes, I feel depressed. I feel like I just don't get enough daylight. I don't get enough outdoor time, and I feel like I'm lacking my exercise, and my joints start hurting really bad. My knees start hurting. I can't really walk in the cold. It's I don't know what happens to me. It's just I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I'm losing something in my soul. Whatever it is not a good experience. So I wanted to be in a warmer climate with better job opportunities, being closer to good medical facilities, right? Especially, cancer centers. I wanted to be around good cancer centers because in the back of my head, I've always had this fear. I don't know why. It's just this weird, like, that if I'm going to be homeless, it's going to be because I couldn't pay medical bills and they take my house away. And so you got to think hard about like, where can you go that's got better protection on your home? And where I came from had the worst homestead protection and exemptions and all that and probably in most of the whole country, right? So I'm like, wow. Think about some states like New Jersey has zero. So, you owe any medical bills, your house is like up for dibs and you can lose it and be homeless. That's how scary it is when you go that far north up in Jersey. Like different states have different like laws regarding, you being protected, your home, your primary residence when it comes to, debt, bills, debt, medical especially. So being somewhere where you have better protection against all that, so you can live knowing that if you got over your head financially, you couldn't pay medical bills and any other unexpected bills, that you wouldn't be forced out of your home and be homeless. And so those are things I had to consider big time when making my move from, a state that you didn't have barely any protection whatsoever. And I'm sure out there, medical bills are insane. You can have $500,000 medical bill over a heart problem, and I've had a heart attack recently. And there's so many things that can happen, right? So many things. It can run $1 million, but if you have the right kind of, if you live in the right location with the right homestead exemptions and protections, every state's different. Like I said, it's not like you can have certain things are exempt, certain things aren't. It all depends. All I know is where I came from was like one of the worst in the country. So anything is better than that. Okay, anything is better than the worst in the country. On the borderline of zero. You know what I mean? Think about that. So here I am now in a place where I don't know what the hell's going on in my attic. I'm hearing sounds. I shared videos of like water was flooding in the ceiling, like in the attic, water was pouring down the light. Now you know what the other thing I've been worried about is radon gas. Radon like it seeps through the cracks in your floors, the cracks, seams in your walls. It comes from under the ground. And so I had a panic and I was reaching out to these companies like, what do I do? I got radon and I got a meter and I was reading it and it was like, it was like right there at that threshold of like, okay, you need radon mitigation. You're in the danger zone. You can get cancer from this. And I'm like, holy crap, And so I noticed there was a lot of cracks in my floor, in the floors. Like when I first moved here, there was cracks all in the tiles. I'm like, wow, radon's coming through all the cracks. What am I gonna do? I'm like, when I called this one company, they said there's no guarantee that doing the mitigation is going to bring the radon down to below uh, 0.2 or whatever, but was still close to the danger zone. And like, what are my other options? So I did some research, and then they said, sealing cracks in your floors and the seams and the baseboards of your floors would help keep that radon gas out. So I ended up having my floors repaired. Which ended up actually just replacing the tiles because it was so scary, like thinking about that, and I know some of you guys are out there thinking, well, maybe all these things you're dealing with, your health issues, your anxieties, maybe it's kind of a manifestation of everything together, including the decisions I've made in my life and something that could have attached to me, a ghost. Now I'm not here to try to debunk people, and I'm not here to try to shove ghosts down people's throats, because not everybody's a believer, it's everybody has their opinion when it comes to ghosts and stuff like that. But I deep down, and I have people that in my family, young ones in my family that believe that, there's ghosts and that we've had encounters with ghosts before. So I'm not the only one. And so I feel like, that where I am now, I almost feel like maybe it's a karma. Maybe there's some kind of karma. Maybe I'm being punished for the decisions I made in the past. You know, maybe it's like the world is saying, "Hey, you had your blinders on. You couldn't really see what was going on in life, and you just made irrational and not well thought out decisions under maybe duress or stress, or just because your life could bring you so much uncertainty and stress. And with all that said, it's like, you don't think straight. And the only thing that comes to mind is this being around people that you care about, spending as much time as you can with family, friends that are important to you, and you do whatever you can to maintain that kind of thing. You adjust the kind of work you do in order to be with your family, to spend time with your family, to take them places, bring them on vacations, spoil them and bring them to just like go to the most, I guess, rewarding places that get you out there and explore the world and get off of the internet and social media platforms that or sitting on the phone or people doing gaming. I think an active lifestyle outdoors, going to the beach, the boardwalk, Florida, South Carolina, all these different fun places. I feel like getting out and doing that was the most amazing thing because you didn't have the distractions of the smartphones and computers, especially if you're like a parent raising your kids. And think about this, in the world we live in now, the day and age, there's a lot of technology that will just kind of keep your kids pinned to a smartphone or their tablet or computer or games, and so it's like, how do you pull them away from that kind of thing? Not to say that everybody's like that, but even if it's 10% of the time or 20% of the time, it's like, well, that's 20% less time to have with people in your life that are important to you, because life is short, and you want to be able to make the most of life while you're around, especially when you think that you're dying. Like I have always been thinking that my life is on the short end of my lifespan, that I'm dying of something and I'm going to have cancer. It's going to be a heart attack. It's going to be something. It's like I've had this mentality for the last 20 years, and it just got worse in the recent months because of things that have happening and on my numerous doctor visits and, you know, just medical imaging and just things compiling. And, you know, my doctors up north, before I moved down this way, they told me I had anxiety. They told me that I had that I was psychosomatic. Basically, he said I was a hypochondriac. You know, I felt insulted, but I'm like, until you live in my shoes and understand that sometimes the anxiety and fear of all these health conditions and the symptoms that you're feeling and the things that make you wonder what's going on with your body could be just as bad as the illnesses themselves. So it's like, you thinking you're dying of cancer could be just as bad as having the cancer itself and being confirmed that you have it. Thinking about your heart, like knowing that you have heart problems, but not knowing whether, you know, it's going to be a ticking time bomb. You know, if you go for a jog, is it going to be the last jog and you drop on the ground? That anxiety is hard to get over that. So once you discover you have the heart problem, it's not like, you know, you're going to just drop right on the ground immediately. It's like you just don't know what activity you do that's going to trigger a cardiac arrest. You just never know. And so then you end up trying to be careful in life not to do anything that could make that happen too soon. And one of the things that can make it happen too soon is constant stress and anxiety and feeling like the world is angry with you, like, and you just feel this negative energy, and then you start to feel alone and isolated and kind of in your own corner, and then you feel like, you know, you're being punished for just being alive. You're being punished for the decisions that you made in the past and recent past, and then probably any current decisions, and you're wondering and you're doubting yourself, you know, and you're thinking, is this like God trying to tell me something? You know, like, and people may think you're living a happy life and, you know, you got it made, you got this, you know, you're living further south in a warmer climate in a home that looks beautiful. And people may see that, you know, it's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Just because there's an illusion of happiness, you know, being in a home that you work so hard with your own labor and time to make it the way you would like it, doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy. I worked so hard at like doing all the painting, this, and there's certain things I couldn't do. And, you know, there was false hopes with career opportunities, right? So there was things happening in my life where I thought I was able to afford, I'll get this done because this job that I got lined up and this job I just started, you know, I'll be able to just pay that off instead of having credit card bills or rank. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But the thing is, I tried so hard to make my home look like something specific. And what do you guys think it is that I tried to make my home look like? Think about it. What kind of vibe do you get when I'm here? What kind of vibe does it give you? If you watch my videos in the past, you'll see there's a connection. There's some kind of continuity. There's a vibe that you get that's in this home. There's some kind of vibe. And I know some of you guys are going to say, because I've made paranormal videos, you know, like I try to entertain you guys and I try to share with you pretty much anything I can to kind of reach out and connect with you guys. And some things my mind wanders on and I'm thinking it's got to be paranormal. So even if my mind's wandering and there's no proof that it is, I share it anyway, just because maybe there's that possibility that it's paranormal and it's not just animals in the attic or my imagination. And I know stress and anxiety can make your mind go in different places. And then, you know, especially when you become more spiritual. But anyway, what do you think this place reminds you of? Does it kind of give you the vibes of where I moved out of, like the house that I moved out of? Like if you just look at how I decorated everything, does it kind of give you this vibe of, okay, well, this is where you know, kind of like where you lived before. Kind of, it feels that way, you know, everything around here just kind of has that vibe to it. You know, if that's what you guys think, there's a reason behind that. There is a big reason behind all that. and it has more to do with being sentimental than anything else. It has more to do with being sentimental. And you know what that is? That is because it reminds me of being with family. Because it gives me a sense of comfort. Because when I was not living alone in a house, raising my family and providing the best that I knew how, even though nobody's perfect and I've made my mistakes and I have my regrets, and I wish I could go back and change some of the decisions I made and some of the choices, and wish that I would have, been more financially responsible and a lot of other things. But, you can't change the past. You can only just move forward and learn from the past and try to make a better, much better decisions moving forward. So, I do have my regrets. I've dealt with a lot of anxieties, and I've dealt with a lot of obstacles and challenges and uncertainties, and certain people who I questioned, and I just didn't want certain influences affecting people in my life. It's a scary world when people turn to drugs and alcohol and things like that, and you got people that have psychological issues, and they could, you need to look out for those that you care about, because some people will just kind of play mind games with people, and get into people's heads, and it's called brainwashing, or what do you call it? It's just certain people are like that in this world, and you just got to be protective of your family. You don't want these bad outside influences causing them to change who they are for the worse, or influence them to do drugs or get into things that are not very healthy for your body or your brain, and what is it? Sometimes you get into these, people get into relationships where, one person may just be manipulative, and they might have dad issues or something, and then their dad issues kind of bleed off into the relationship, and it makes me look like a bad guy, to some extent, when you deal with people who have, dad issues or something, and they get into relationships with people that and then they might change the way they look at you because of that person's opinion, because of their past experiences, And I've seen these things happen before, just growing up, being around people, just learning from other people, just being in certain environments. You see how people react, and sometimes people make decisions, in life to be with certain people, and they just get used to being with them, but their heart's just not really in it 100%, but they don't want to be alone. So then they put up with a lot of the things like manipulation and a lot of other things that happen, because some people do have multiple personalities or bipolar, and so those people deal with a lot of things. And I've seen a lot of that, working with people years and years ago, and so I feel like I've lost some friends due to them being manipulated, because people in their life had issues with their parents, or someone that was a male role model, or even if it was a mother or a father, whoever it may be, that I feel like people jump to conclusions about people, like, yeah, he's no good, he's Italian, he's probably in the mafia, that kind of crap. It's like, do you even know who I am? Or yeah, I somebody was raised and their dad was an alcoholic and abusive, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, he's Italian just like my dad, so trust is lost. Seriously, don't judge a book by its cover, and don't compare someone to someone else. So yeah, I feel like I've lost touch with some of my good friends because they've been manipulated. I know it. I just feel it, my opinion, but in my heart, I feel like they've been manipulated by their new friendships or relationships, and they're biased. Those people just may have an opinion, and they just are not. I don't know. They're judgmental. I feel maybe they're judgmental, and so it sucks, and you have friends that do that, and I'm talking about some friends that I've known for like 15 years, just boom. And I've had a, friend that I've known for 30 years. And this particular person's been through a lot. And I've always, been supportive, but not everybody wants to talk about their personal life. They don't want to get into details about this and that. But I feel like some of my recent losses in the last year and a half when it comes to good friendships is all over manipulation of someone who, is in a relationship with somebody, or, somebody went through a relationship and then went out of a relationship and they were with a manipulative person who like just had their opinions about someone and makes them look bad. And then they tell, they're like, they share their negative opinions with other people. And then it just kind of puts a wrong impression in their head. I've had this happen and it's like, really? Do you really know me? Like, I don't do drugs. I'm not into alcohol. I don't do steroids. I have people accuse me of doing steroids. Like, oh yeah, you're doing steroids. You're into drugs. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like all about health. So, it's like people judge a book by its cover these days. Just because, you care about your health doesn't mean you're doing steroids. Like, come on, like really. And that's just kind of the way the world seems to go these days. There are shortcuts when it comes to your health, right? But there's consequences when you try to take shortcuts to get in shape and get muscles, But that's just kind of the thing I've dealt with in probably the last 20 years or so. Like I've had people like come up to me like saying, all right, so when are you going to stop taking steroids? I'm telling you. And then I had some people like, there was one person, I'm not even mentioning any names, but they were just starting a lot of drama over just me making YouTube videos because they didn't even know. They had an assumption that, that I was making a lot of money. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like, and then they were just like putting it in other people's heads, so then it almost like it just creates this, I guess, expectation of like, yeah, I guess I was expecting him to be successful. And so now he's just this YouTube content creator, And then so they put you in the bucket of all the other content creators and they look at you like, get a real job. And I'm like, wait a minute, I do have a real job. Just because I have a YouTube hobby doesn't mean that's a job. I mean, it's a hobby. It always has been. Like I had a real job. I've been working for Google for the longest time, subcontracted through that. I've been a web designer, a publisher, and all those things for all those years. And yeah, so YouTube was the cherry on top. It was fun. And yeah, it started making some revenue like back in 2013, but it wasn't like life-changing. But some people, I guess, got manipulated into thinking that I was making a lot of money with YouTube, and then it just kind of spreads like cancer. And then it could just, I don't know, it just complicates relationships, Then you don't know who's wants to be in your life for the right reason, or because, you deal with a gold digger because they think, oh, he's famous, he must be making a lot of money. I'm gonna go out with him and be his girlfriend, and then I'm gonna want a diamond ring. I'm gonna want this. I'm very needy and take advantage of him until he, maybe realizes that he's being scammed. But like I said, my success came from my hard work. And just because some individual who had some ulterior motives decides to kind of put something in someone else's head to make it seem like things aren't what they seem, it's not who I am. You know what I mean? I wish that things were different. I wish I could go on YouTube and it could be like a fun hobby on top of that. Only do that, and that would be my main job, not have to worry about any other job. That's never been an option in my whole life. It's always been a hobby. It's a passion. I think just having a YouTube channel, reaching out to the world is an amazing experience because I feel like people live vicariously through me. And especially when I was like just spending time with friends and family and sharing those moments, it was like changing the world. Those who were like stuck at home, couldn't go somewhere, people that have disabilities, they're not able to go travel, that I've changed their lives, we've changed their lives as a family unit, and those involved changed the lives of those for the better. It was like the recognition, the appreciation, it was so heartwarming, and it was a motivator. But the biggest motivation was seeing everybody enjoy that kind of moment, that magical moment, and having the opportunity to work from home, because I just was so, I feel like I honed in on my experience, doing web designing, doing my websites. And I did videography for so many years. I've done it for weddings, for car companies, like car dealers, for the websites. And so it's kind of like my skills bled into YouTube, because, hey, if you could do this and you could do that. And I've always loved being creative and just making, like, I remember the days when I was a kid with a camcorder, is having fun, is being creative. It's an art. Music, painting, videography, all arts. And if you can find a way to have fun with those things and change the world for the better, to improve people's lives, so they can have a touch of a reality that maybe is out of their reach, and it makes them feel like they're connecting with you in the world, that's an amazing experience. And then when they're able to get out, and even those who are able still love to live through those, vicarious, through us vicariously, right? I don't think anybody wants to live through me vicariously right now with my health anxieties and medical bills and financial destruction that I'm going through, where I'm practically being forced to move out of this place and downsize within the next year or so. Like, I'm sure nobody wants to be in my shoes right now. I've kind of created this problem, and I'm trying to figure out how I can get around this problem, and looking for jobs that are safe to work. Now it's even dangerous to being a DoorDasher. There's like people getting mugged and robbed being a DoorDasher. Like, are you kidding me? I put up a hard fight, though. I'm not going to just let somebody take me down that easy. You know what I mean? It's going to be a hard fight with me, but still, it's not like it used to be, right? So it's a crazy world out there. It really is a crazy world. I got to switch hands before my freaking, it's going to go numb. There we go. Can you still see me? Oh my gosh, my arm is all like numb. Like, it's like numbitated. All right, so yeah, there's something that's going on, and I don't know if it's my anxieties or if it's my, just feeling alone and sad. It's creating something to happen in my home, or maybe I'm just more receptive to things, and I'm just hearing things and my mind wanders. Your mind can wander into some crazy places when you hear stuff, especially if you were traumatized, and you, like, say if you had, gotten into a fight or had a stalker problem, then you hear something, like, you'll start to think, oh my gosh, what is this? Is this a stalker? But with me, it's like, I don't know, there's a spiritual side to me, and I think I was influenced by some people in my family when it came to the spiritual side, because, when they were believers of it, it kind of made me believe more. And then I started thinking, wow, maybe there is something. And the scary thing is that someone had died in this home too. And I don't know if I ever told you guys that, but yeah, somebody had died in this home that I'm living in right now. No lie, no joke either. It's a scary thing. I'm trying to, oh gosh, I'm trying to do this here. All right. And the scary thing is that they died of cancer too. Like, of all the things, they died of cancer when they were in this home. So somebody was widowed in this house, in this home. They were, so that's something that's history right there. And so it's a scary thing thinking about that, And so, and I'm thinking, okay, radon causes cancer. So maybe, was it the radon in here that caused it? What could it have been? And so my mind goes in these places, and I start regretting my decisions. I'm like, what did I do? did I just set myself up for, automatically getting cancer living here? Um, See, when I first came here, it was like, oh, this is affordable. I can do this. This is much cheaper than where I came from. The taxes, okay, they're reasonable. Everything, it was like bait and switch. My taxes almost did more than double, almost tripled for the next tax year. I'm like, are you kidding me? And the homeowners insurance went double. And I'm like, and the car insurance is way up. I'm like, this is not right. And then I saw the prices of food just like every week, a few cents more, a few cents more here. I'm like, are you kidding me? This was like $1.20. Now it's $1.60. I'm like, I remember getting a can of smoked oysters for $1.69, and now it's 200. It's $2.89. I'm like, what is going on? you know. So it's like, I'm not making any more money. I'm making less money, and the price of living is going up. That's not the math doesn't work out too good. It doesn't. So I feel like I'm just being punished for moving down here. I never wanted to leave anyone behind. I never wanted to leave anybody that I care about behind. And I think moving down here might have given some people the wrong impression of thinking that I didn't care and I moved away and abandoned everybody. Not saying that's the case, but my mind kind of thinks maybe deep down there's some maybe of that. But I don't know, like you say, when you have friends and family and you've lived around them within an hour to a couple hour drive, or even if you got them right around the corner, and then you move halfway across the country, it's a different world. But with technology, we're able to keep in touch, right? Messenger, FaceTime, Facebook, phone calls, which probably not very reliable for some people because, depends on if you're in a good area when it comes to cell towers, or, landlines can have issues, especially if you live in a community where you got a lot of problems with your phone lines. And I've dealt with that in the past where I've had issues with my phone lines and internet. And then I have issues right now with my phone service. There's a tower that's too far away. I don't get a good enough signal. The only time I can actually call out is most of the time if I'm out and about away from here and closer to a tower, or going through the Wi-Fi, And of course, there was a hacker that hacked into some Facebook accounts and Messenger accounts of one of my good friends who I've known for a long time, and have actually been on some vacations with him and his family, and even had some videos of us on vacation. And a message came from him, and it's saying like, this person, I believe this person you might know, has been in an accident. And I'm like, wow. So he and I know a small group of people, and I'm like, the people that he and I know, quite a few of them are very close to me, and some are family. And I'm like, okay, so who is it? I'm like in a panic. I'm like, well, who just got in an accident? I need to know, like, who's been in an accident. And so I see it came from a friend who I know and trust, and I see it was his legit account. It was like his actual contact from his actual account in Messenger, because I checked, and there was previous messages from him and I going back over the last years or so. And I'm like, okay, well, it's really from him. I click on the link, and then it tells me to log into Facebook, and then at the same time, I'm like, okay, this doesn't look right. Something looks, because I had a Facebook, and then it was kind of like not really associated with the Messenger account. It was a different Facebook, but then I just never used it. It was more for Facebook Marketplace to kind of buy stuff used and sell it on eBay. But what happened was I clicked on the link. Then it showed me to sign in. I'm like, okay, well, let me just sign in with a fictitious Messenger password and name first, just to make sure it's not a scam link. So I was already thinking ahead. So I did that, and it took me to another link, and then it said my phone had a pop-up saying, "Warning: Enable your VPN now," or something, and it looked like it was downloading something, and I freaked out. And so I'm like, "Oh crap! It's too late. There's a virus on my phone. Now my accounts are going to get hacked." So I panicked and started deleting everything. Messenger, you name it, I deleted everything and rebooted my phone, restarted everything, and I lost a lot of apps. I lost a lot of contacts. I lost a lot of everything, all because somebody was just trying to scam people, and that's pretty sad. So if you ever see anything like that out there, and somebody's like claiming that, oh, somebody that you know has been in an accident, go see if it's them. And check it out, see if you know who they are, if you know them, and it's like, oh, you better be careful, because I feel like 100% of the time it's someone trying to fish for information, trying to get your password and get your bank cards and medical records and everything else they get their hands on, and get into your contacts, and then hack their accounts, and then send messages from their accounts. People can like spread all kinds of things. They can spread hatred about you. They can make you look like a bad person by spreading out, oh yeah, he robbed the bank, or this or that. They can make up anything and spread it through social media. And they get and then blackmail you and say, well, you pay me $1,000, and we'll announce that it was just a joke. Things like that. And people do these things. And so you got spyware, you've got keyloggers, you've got what do you call it, ransomware. So all these things that their scammers are out doing. And then scammers will call you from a number that looks like a legit number, and then try to scam you again. So be careful out there, everybody. The world is like a dangerous place when it comes to that. I really do not like Facebook. I love Twitter, and I'm verified with my lush blue tick and field. There you go, Bobby. You go before the live stream, so you have to end the stream there. Thank you, Bobby. Just get Brianna or your other family with you. You need companionship. There you go. Like I said, the home I was living in was a family home for everyone, all of us, and it would have been that way as long as they were living there. They had a place to stay. They had a place. I don't care if they were in 30s or 40s. They could have stayed there for as long as they wanted. As long as I was able to afford to keep the place, then that was the way it was going to be. But when your kids grow up and they get married or get in relationships, and they move out and have their own place, and then you're just left with a big place that you intended to be the family home until you think much later time in life. Then and it happens sooner than you think, and it's like, well, do I just try to maintain this place and hope that they'll move back in? And maybe somebody moves in and for a little bit moves back out. And it happens, as part of life, right? And then the final result is that everybody really wants to be on their own, that they're done living in a house, because, everybody, you grow up and you want to be independent, have your own life. It's kind of like when you're a kid, yeah, you live with your parents, then it's time, okay, now it's time to have our own place, decorate this and that, and it's our own, whatever it is, it's your own, right? And so that's understandable. I mean, not everybody lives with their parents all the well. I have some friends who still live with their parents, but that's a different subject. But not everybody, stays with their parents all their life, right? So that's just how it is with me. It's like, my doors have always been open, but nobody's staying there, and things were getting complicated with the pandemic and people coming and going, and I'm starting to like, okay, can't afford to stay here anymore. Everyone moved out, and I had some family members that were just kind of temporarily staying until they get back on track again. And so I was like, well, what do we do? I don't want to put them on the streets moving out, and I can't stay because it was unaffordable, and there were some taxes coming up, and I'm like, okay, my income is not going to substantiate this place much longer. I got to make a decision. Plus, selling gets me out of some debt, and then if I get out of some of that debt, because I have a lot of loans that was really weighing me down, and things weren't getting paid, and it was going to get pretty ugly, especially in a state that doesn't have any kind of valuable homestead protections. You're going to lose your property over to this collection and that collection and this and that. Like, one way or another, it's not going to be pretty. So I feel like it's now or never. It's a gamble. It's like, I'll help anyone who was staying in my home. I'll help you get another place, so that you're not in a bad situation. And so that's what you do. You help them out and you get them in a place. You help them financially. You do what you can so that they're not on the streets. Why wouldn't you, right? And then you get out of that whole burden of living in a big home that is going to just make you realize how lonely you really are. And then you think about how many days you got left before it's not sustainable, and you lose it anyway. And then if you wait until you lose a house, there's no recovering it. It's like, if I were to have waited, I would be homeless right now. I would have no other options. So if you have some equity in your home, it's best to sell it, pay off your debt, use that equity to help those in your family if they have to move somewhere else, and get a place, downsizing, and start over. And of course, have more debt, but not as much, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I ended up. That's kind of what I had to do with this whole promise of, like, you're going to make about $30 an hour being an electrician. And a friend of mine he's been doing a lot of these different kind of jobs similar to my work, and then some of the interests that he has. It's like, wow, I know how to do electrical work, I know how to do this. I could be good at maintaining properties and maintaining that. And it's like, I feel like this will be a win-win. Like, I can earn money doing this and doing that, and being able to enjoy my life and stay away from, like, COVID, like the fears of being around people who were contaminated with any kind of illness out there. And so that's kind of the choice I made right there. To come down here, be closer to opportunities and in the cancer center and medical treatment and the best facilities. And I have established a relationship with all these medical facilities now. I have a new physician and everything. I get my medication, it's basically right now it's being paid for by my insurance, but I almost lost my health insurance because my income was dropping too low. And it's like to the point where that I wasn't going to qualify for the premium tax credit through the marketplace, through ACA, Affordable Care Act. And they were going to drop me into the category of Medicaid, and then Medicaid would have backfired because then there would have been other requirements. And with Medicaid, you got to pay it back, once you're on your dying bed, basically. And you don't want to leave that responsibility to someone else. So and then there's also, like, you have to have money to live off of, right? So say if you had more than $2,000 in the bank or something, which, you have to have some money to pay bills and live off, but they can count that against you and say, well, you can't qualify because you have too many assets, you have this or that. But with me, it would be, I'd have to sell my car, because that might be a thing that would disqualify me. So that's something that I'm doing. But it's not just because of that, it's because I cannot afford to keep it anymore. So, it's just, I need a cheaper car, you know what I mean? These are the cheaper. But certain things like that, it's kind of tricky. And then you got limited coverage, and they might not cover as well, like, as the insurance I have now. So I got to maintain a certain income level in order to stay qualified for the insurance that I have. And there's a fine line. You make too much. Why would I worry if I make too much? Because then I'll just pay the balance that's due. If I'm making enough, then I could afford it, right? But I'm not in that position. But I'm trying hard to get there. And I think me just worrying about all these things is what's kind of creating this negative energy that I feel. This sadness, this feeling like I've made the biggest mistake ever. Feeling like, I'm being punished. And I know some of you are like, oh, he's just whining and crying about finances. But this is not about finances. This all comes together. This all makes sense. This is me trying to rationalize what's going on, like me trying to come to the realization of what is going on in my life, like what is happening with me, what is happening in my home, and And I do believe in karma, and I've never had any bad intentions, when moving down here. My intentions were, I'm done. I'm moving away from everybody because I can't take it. No, that was the last thing. I never wanted to leave anybody behind. I just felt pushed with my seasonal affective disorder and me just being depressed during the winters and, being stuck in a bad place, and then having these financial fears and worries and uncertainties, and my health with like health anxieties. It's a crazy thing. I would never want to wish the health anxieties that I have on anybody. There are people that are having health issues that are like worse than mine, but I have anxieties over mine so bad that it's disruptive to my life. It's taking away the quality of my life. It's deteriorating my health. And that's a pretty bad way to live. And it's just having those health anxieties and knowing that, I felt like when I'm walking outside, I feel like raindrops are falling on my head. I'm not trying to be funny, but like raindrops falling on my shoulders, water splashing on my like arms and legs. It feels like that. And then I'll have like itching all over my body. Usually in the evenings, it happens a lot. It's just itching, my stomach, my back, my shoulder, like just itching. And then I'll get like these hot flashes where I feel hot. And it's like, I look at the air conditioner, I'm like, okay, do I turn it down a couple more degrees? What do I do? Then I'll feel sticky. And it's like it comes out of nowhere, and it usually happens in the evening too. And then, me losing a lot of weight, that I can't find the reason to justify that, and having the fevers that I was having, like weeks at a time, and not knowing what's causing them, and having swollen lymph nodes that are still swollen to this day, and just having rectal bleeding that was confirmed by the gastroenterologist. And now I have a colonoscopy coming up, more diagnostics coming up. I've already reached out to some other doctors, and there's a cancer center that I've been researching. So there's a lot of things that's going on in my head. So when you got people that are thinking, oh, you got such a good life, what are you complaining about? And then they might think that I'm some spoiled person. They're totally wrong. I am so wrapped up in all these fears and anxieties and uncertainties and dealing with things. And just because I may look healthy on the outside doesn't mean that I'm healthy on the inside. There's a lot going on with me, and it's eating at me emotionally. And I'm trying my hardest to fight all this. And if I end up having cancer, I'm not gonna just give into it. I'm gonna fight hard, but. I'm holding on. I'm barely holding on to what I have now, trying to live each day, trying to survive. It is not as pretty as it may look on the outside. Now, if I had someone living with me to help pay bills, yeah, it would be much more doable. But who's going to put up with me? Who's going to put up with me with my anxieties and, me complaining about, people in general, or what's going on in this world? Because it's like we're going to hell the way this world's running. It's like so many things, and I'm so picky about like certain things. I think my OCD would just like be a deterrent for anybody to want to even spend time with me more than a week. So I feel like if I ever got into a meaningful relationship, they would just get sick and tired of me pretty quickly. And then they might want affection, and I might, when I have anxiety and stuff like that, I'm not a very affectionate person to begin with. And it doesn't mean that I don't care about somebody. It's just, I feel like I'm deprived of that kind of natural thing. But I am very nurturing though. It's like, I remember just like being nurturing to animals, raising birds when I was a kid. And, my kids growing up, like, I was such a nurturing dad when they were like little babies and toddlers. And it's like, when they stopped needing me the same way, it's just like, okay, well, can't baby your kids all their lives, they grow up, but I have a nurturing heart. It's just that having a relationship, I'm just not a very affectionate person that way, even though I would love somebody unconditionally, or love people that, just love people in general. I just have a problem expressing it, you know what I mean? So that's the side of me that gets misunderstood, you know what I mean? Well, I have a big heart. People just look at things and see things the wrong way, they don't know where my heart really is, but I know where my heart really is. And I know I've done from what I believe, I feel like I've done good, all my life, being the best person I can be, but nobody's perfect and we make mistakes trying to be that person. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know everything. I think I got too caught up in being book smart and researching medical stuff and researching healthy eating and researching, how to be a parent, all these things. Like, I feel like I spent too much time in the books that it takes away from the naturalness of things. And then everything just seems so, like out of the book kind of thing, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're worried about your kids' health and you're worried about, the foods they're eating, you worry about this and that, and you worry about the influences of them being around certain people. And then so you read, you research this, you research that, you have your trust issues on top of that. And then it just becomes it just becomes a hindrance, it can become a hindrance because then you feel like you're being too protective, and you want to have as much time as you can with those in your life while you're still existing. So you feel like you're splurging on vacations with those that you care about and spending more money than you probably should, taking them places that are, creating those memories. And you may not realize that, maybe it gets repetitive and old, and then they're not always going to talk highly about those experiences. They're going to be like, I'm sick of that place. I don't like this place. I don't like that place. I mean, it's natural to get tired of places. I get tired of places myself, but I never get tired of seeing, people having fun and smiling and laughing. And I don't never get tired of the magic in those moments, when you're out there just, experiencing the waves of the ocean and running into people that may recognize me or anyone that I'm with that has that presence. Because, we live in a generation, well, when you have your kids, growing up, they're out there on social media. They might have TikTok. They might have YouTube accounts. They might have things like that where they're getting creative. They're reaching out to the world. And if you're a parent and you have your own channel, and then it's like everybody looks up to you, right? So you start collaborating together on YouTube content, and then everybody looks at you, I know you, and it's like, wow, and they're happy and they're excited. So a lot of things happen, but it's in the norm. Like, this generation, it's like a lot of it's on social media. It's like everybody's creative, reaching out to other people, and there's people doing like all these very, like, I don't know, they're just really cool things where they're entertaining people, they're changing people's lives. And I wish I could go back in time, and I wish that this kind of technology was around when I was in my 15, 16, 20 years old. I wish that technology was around back then, because I feel like I would have such an edge. I feel like I would have so much of an advantage because of all the passion and talents that I've expressed through the old-fashioned way, with old cameras that you watch on VHS and stuff like that. I feel like, man, that would have been awesome, having that experience in my childhood, But I guess if you could just see others having that fun experience, it makes you happy to see them happy, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it is. I end up happy through seeing other people happy. And not everybody's always happy, but they pretend to be happy. And so that kind of gives you mixed signals, and you don't know when somebody's actually just pretending to be happy, when they're happy. And I always tried for making, people, happy and feeling loved, if you have friendships and relationships, but, the only downfall is when you just don't find it natural to be very affectionate, but deep down in your heart that you love that person and you care about that person, but you're just not that, affectionate kind of person. It just kind of, I don't know. Some people just kind of might feel like they're not loved, and it's a sad thing. Yeah, but I've, my heart is a really big heart. It's like I cannot say no to St. Jude's or anything like that. Like if somebody was like wanting a donation, like I'll be at my last dollar, and like I go to the store, and I'm like, I feel like I have to. I feel like I just feel like I can't walk out of the store without giving something, even if I cannot really afford it. It's like, okay, this is St. Jude's, what if somebody needs it? They need care. It could be cancer, it could be that, especially me and my mindset right now thinking, my mind is in a direction where I feel like I'm 100% certain that I have cancer. That's like it's just like pretty much, it's wasting my body away. And it's just like I'm on borrowed time, and it's my mentality that I'm dealing with. And I know that being like that makes me more sentimental about other people, so then I just feel like I've become closer to God, and I've become, just appreciating life more, and I'm more sentimental and more thankful. And then I feel like I have more guilt too, because then I feel like, I've made choices that put me in this situation where I am now, and I feel like that maybe I should have made better choices in the past that would have led me to staying where I was and not being forced to sell my house and not having to worry about losing my house if I would have made other choices. But, living alone, even when you have, say you raise your kids, but you still have a woman in your life, and, say you still have some level of being alone because, you still want to have that compassion, that companionship, right? So you turn to hobbies like cars, and that can cost money. And so you start messing around and messing with sports cars, muscle cars, as a way to kind of feel that, fill that void up. And then that comes at an expense. And you never get that money back because it's gone. You sell a car, you trade it, it's gone. You work your ass off on eBay to make money, web designing, Google, and you have a little side hustle going on here and there, it all comes down to when you have to pay taxes on it, which every year, I was seeing how much of it was going into taxes, but now that I've barely make anything, I see how much less is going into taxes because, you don't make enough, you don't pay as much. But I think all that is what's created this environment that I'm living in now. And it's kind of funny that everything started failing. Like when I first came here, the air conditioning started to fail, and it's like I had to get a new air conditioning. Like of all the odds, the hot water heater was going crazy. The refrigerator started, the water dispenser stopped working, and it wasn't getting cold enough. The oven was starting to smell like it was burning the house down, and it was like making a weird noise and smoking, and it was like not coming, it was just not working right. I'm like, what is going on? All these things are happening. I'm like, I don't get it. Then there was like some water leaks going on, and then found out about the radon, and then the glass back there was cracked and had to be replaced, like the sliding glass doors. I'm like, okay. What else is going to happen in here? That's like, if anything else happens, I'm not going to be able to afford to fix it. There was a problem outside with the roof ventilation. That had to be addressed because the shingles are starting to warp from the sun. I'm like, oh man, like I cannot afford $20,000 to buy new shingles. I don't even have that much money on me. With all my cash combined, I don't even have that much money. It's like, how would I even be able to get shingles? Is it going to be another credit card that I'm not going to be able to pay? So I'm thinking about all this stuff. I'm like, man, I really I think I made a big mistake. I was thinking that, I was going to get a house that was like 3 times smaller and a lot less expensive. And I didn't expect all these unexpected expenses to come out of nowhere. And of course, some of them I was prepared for, but I was thinking, you know what? My new job opportunity as an electrician and this new thing that I, have going with a friend of mine, it's like, between that and that, I'm covered, that's not gonna be no problem. I could be able to afford all that. It just didn't pan out. It really didn't. So it's like I set myself up for failure. You know what I mean? Hey, there's no failure, right? If you try hard and you survive, you just gotta try. You gotta push. You gotta get out of the situation. You can't just let yourself fall down and then be homeless. That's not gonna be me, right? I'm grateful every day. I'm aware of pain, but I'm also aware that God is in all and all over that. He has my back. His heart is good and trustworthy. When the outlook is gloomy, have a up look. Hello, how are you, Bobby? Thank you. Osvaldo, wow, it's been a while. I'm doing good. Sylvester Light, what's going on? I'm not in a relationship. I'm just as a single person living in a 3-bedroom, and all my kids are old to live with me. Oh, wow. You need a tripod so you don't have to hold the camera all the time. There you go, Michelle. Bobby, please tell us what happened to your wife. Well, see, some things are personal. I don't really like to talk too much about things. All I can say is, I got to clean this off because this is fogged up. All I can say is maybe this light's causing a glare or something. There, I put it up here. All right, I guess that's good enough. Maybe. Okay. Well, all I can really say without, bringing people into this unnecessarily is that relationships don't always work out. And, it takes two to make it work out. And, all it takes is certain things to happen in a relationship and it just doesn't work out. And you may still be friends, but just can't be in love anymore. You know what I mean? Things like that happen. Plus, me just not being a very affectionate person probably doesn't help. It's just one of those things. And me just being so particular about certain things, I don't think anybody can stand being around me. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answers. Maybe I put myself down too much thinking these things, nobody's perfect. Relationships don't always last.Ings happen. It's just part of life. It either works out or it doesn't. Things don't always last forever. Life is short and life is precious. Make the best of life, while you're here. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was splurging on things, kind of like living it up, because thinking, okay, my time is like I'm on borrowed time. I need to live it up and not worrying about this financial consequences. Because, when you think that you're dying, and this is a serious thing, I've been dealing with it. And some people they accept me for who I am and understand where I'm coming from. And some people will think they think that I got problems, they got bigger problems. People try to compare problems, but it all comes down to it. I wish that nobody had any health issues. I wish that everybody in the world was healthy. And, I'm not trying to, I don't want anybody to not be healthy. Everybody deserves a chance at life to be strong and healthy. But you got some people that are not deserving of it, who are bad people that, are out there to harm others. But I'm talking about the good people, the deserving people, the genuine people in the world. They deserve to be healthy and strong and not have any kind of, ailment or disease or terminal illness, whatever it may be that complicates their day. I wish that everybody could be just healthy and live long and not have all those problems, but this is the real world we live in. We can't make it perfect, And so, yeah, I have a different way of handling my health anxieties and my current situation and health issues, because it's not only anxieties. I do have health issues. I have heart problems, and I know it's hereditary because when you eat healthy and you're exercising and you still have these problems, then sometimes it's because of something that passed on through generations. It happens. Some people can eat junk food, and if they're lucky, they didn't inherit any kind of heart problems, and they could just eat whatever they want and not even have any heart problems. Some people you have to be super careful because, you can be genetically disposed, there's a disposition to having you can just, boom, this can happen. So it's kind of like, I'm wondering where this whole problem's with the cancers coming in, to play. I know there's some cancer that runs in the genes somewhere, but I'm a very private person, even though it may look like I put everything out there, but I don't. Like, I keep people, I know names, identities, in relations to people, out of the equation. I'm very, what do you call it? Very generic, I guess. I don't really don't point fingers. And plus, when someone doesn't really know who you are, then they don't know what the connection is to anybody else, because they really have to know you to know anyone you're associated with. People don't really know me because I don't really put me out there. I put my face out there. I put my content out there, but I don't put my personal information out there. You know what I mean? I just put what I feel is enough to reach out to you guys, to reach out to the world, to entertain. And I've always been that way for the safety of my family and all that, just because you got people that just don't have the best intentions out there in this world, and you don't need to entertain those people and encourage them and give them more information than they need. So it's always about just being safe, being safe. And I've always been that way. Always been that way. I just don't know what's going on here. If you were watching my other video, when I was recording the sound of those birds, and I was talking about like this demonic deep roar that was like being heard in the sky, those were the common night hawks. So there's night hawks that fly around and dive down, and when they dive, they make this sonic boom sound. It's like a jet fighter, like a fighter jet, when it's breaking the sound barrier. Basically, the feathers are vibrating so loud because of the velocity, the speed that the hawk is diving at, that it creates that roar sound. Almost like if you were to take a jump rope and you were to spin it really fast. You know how it makes that roaring sound? Well, that's pretty much the sound that those birds were making, but a little bit deeper. But that was the sound you would hear. So you take a whip or something and you just swing it, whoosh, and then you hear, that's the sound they were making. I'm like, what is that sound? And I know some of you guys thought it was like a bear roaring or some kind of animal, like a big animal. And it's those hawks. They're out there chirping, chirping, chirp, chirp, chirp. Then they dive, and then you hear that really like a roar sound. It's the sound of the wind. The wind being broken, I guess. Smash that like button. You guys are amazing. Glad that you're out here. We got Bobby. Thank you so much. We got John. Michelle's out here. I eat bacon and eggs every night for dinner. It's my favorite food. There you go. Like I say, I mean, some of you out here can just about eat anything, right? And there's no immediate consequences, And for some of you, you eat something, and then the next day you're like already suffering from it. Whether it's stomach problems, or your heart's pounding really fast, or you're feeling sick, or you got sweats, or whatever it may be, or it's creating a near disaster, or like a potential heart problem. Like it's scary. For some, they can do all that and not have any problems. And some, it's like, with me, it's like, I got to be so careful. I stay away from salt. And I've always encouraged like everybody in my life, to eat healthy. Maybe I've become obsessive to the point where, nobody wants to hear it from me, but I'm saying like, I've always been about like, your body is your temple, take care of it, eat healthy. But the one thing that I kind of lost touch with is that not only do you have to eat healthy and get your exercise, but you also got to maintain good mental health. And if you start stressing too much about eating healthy, you stress too much about your health problems, you stress too much about decisions you made that you can't change, you stress about so many different things, then it causes mental health problems. It deteriorates your brain. And then people, they end up having dementia early in life, or Alzheimer's, or other problems. There's things that can trigger certain things. And having mental problems is not a good thing. So with me, I've always had a very complicated childhood. I was always picked on in school, and I always had self-esteem issues, and I was going through depressed times as a child, and I didn't have any friends. And the only friend I ever had was just friends who were like my family. Like that was the only friends I know, really. And so it was kind of like, yeah, and the teachers. I would like hang out and talk to the teachers because being with the other kids, it was like they were too judgmental, and I felt like I didn't belong there and all that stuff. So it was a very, very sad, complicated childhood, and it's like I feel like it kind of, I don't know, it just made me lose confidence in myself at a certain level. When it came to being taken seriously, or having certain kind of respect from people. They may look at me as like a walking joke, or like how can anybody look at me and think that I am a normal person? And it's carried on through my adulthood too. And it's a point where I have social anxieties where I don't find it easy to communicate with people, like or making friends, or if I'm walking down the street, it's like it's easier for me to avoid somebody and be preoccupied, maybe get my phone, look at my phone and look busy, and just to try to avoid a conversation, or saying hi or something, because the social anxieties get overpowering. And it's like a lot of times I wear my sunglasses when I'm out so that I feel shielded, like I got sunglasses on, and I almost feels like just another way of me coping with social anxieties. And so that's kind of how I've been, and I still have these anxieties because I feel like people, I just feel like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like I don't feel like I'm taken seriously, or even if I'm as serious as I can, I just feel like people will think that they're better than me, or they're smarter than me, they're more successful than me, a lot of other things. It's like in the back of my head, I feel like, well, am I a loser because I'm not doing well financially, and because I blew my money on a lot of things that I can't recover it from? And I mean, the only thing that I felt like that was really positive was whenever it came to the money I spent on family trips, family vacations, and other people, money spent on other people, because I've given to others, I've helped others, whether it's with cars, getting a place, even having a place to live totally, or gift times when it's just the holiday season, and being extra generous, and just the vacations and the lifestyle, a lot of things. Like it was for everybody. It wasn't just about me. It never was just about me. It was like we're all in this together. And I wish I could have everybody, like if I could just reach out to everybody in the family, I wish I could just take everybody on a big getaway. But it's not a reality to take everybody, because everybody has obligations and things, or they got their life. And if you were to keep in touch with every single family member in your that you've known in your life, whether it's cousins, uncles, aunts, just going down the family tree, if you were to try to like reconnect and stay connected with all those people, you might have like 40 or 50 people going on vacation with you. So it's like, you try to do what you can, what you were able to do. And, I do have my regrets, which that there was more people included in certain situations, but I can't change that. I cannot change it. I just felt like I was just in a different state of mind, going under, just a lot of stressful things happening. And I was trying to maintain a certain lifestyle to be able to be at home and provide and spend time with people in my life, and have that freedom to do such, and try to like prevent the corruption from that particular community with the kind of ways that some people have. I just didn't want it rubbing off on people that I care about, because some people get into some weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to drugs and cults and some people just not getting over the Civil War and trying to push their opinions onto other people. And when you're growing up, especially if you're younger, you could be more impressionable, and then those kinds of things could be very influential. And depending on where you're from, it's like you have this sense of pride from where you were born and raised, and then you go to another part of the world, and it's like they're prejudiced against you, and they treat you like you're in a mafia or you don't belong there. And then you don't want people in your family getting that way, acting that way, talking like them, behaving like them, treating you like that. So then you end up being extra protective to shield them from that kind of environment. And I think it's just a lot of things happen in life where you just, you're trying to do the best you can, and you're overwhelmed by things, and then maybe it pushes certain people away because you're trying to avoid those influences, and then some people might get offended along the way, and then it's just like you can't win if you try. It's like if I can go back, I would change a lot of decisions I made, and it might have resulted in me still being up north and not here, and I might even have still been much happier, right? Because then I have all this guilt attached to me being down here because I'm away from everybody. And now that I feel like my punishment is that I'm going to die of cancer in this place alone. Or not, like go for a walk and then my heart says, okay, well, you can only have so many heart attacks and this is your last one. Or it's just the anxiety and all the things I'm dealing with that's going to eat at my mentality and my happiness. Because that in itself can be worse than the actual problems. That could be worse than the actual cancer. That could be worse than the actual disease. That can, be, that is just, to me, it takes away from the quality of your life. And at that point, it's like, you might as well just have the cancer. You might as well just have a heart attack because, that's kind of where your mind is right now, where you feel like you can't even enjoy your time living because all these things going on. So you might as well just, accept that, life is short, and what do? You just accept the fact that you possibly have cancer, or you could possibly have a heart attack in a week or in a day. And me, I'm a fighter. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna go hide in a corner and stop eating because I'm not that person. I feel like I'm eating more to try to comfort myself emotionally by thinking if I eat more and I'm stopped losing weight, then maybe that'll make me think less about cancer. Because when you have cancer and you're eating, it's like you're eating more, but then the cancer is winning, and it's like it's wasting your body away, and you're eating more but still losing weight. And if I can maintain weight or even gain a little weight, then it'll help my mind kind of get out of that dark place emotionally. At least that'd be one thing to get out of my mind, but then still other things will be weighing me down. Because if it's not one thing, it's another. So I feel like it's like there's a string and there's like a puppeteer, and I'm just a puppet, and I'm being manipulated by the world, and I'm being punished by the world. So I look at this and it's a tease. I'm like, wow, I really love what I have, but I'm not going to be able to keep it because I cannot afford to keep it anymore. And then the other side of that is that I might have a heart attack tomorrow, and then it's over, it's done. Or I might have cancer, and then 3-4 years later, it's over, it's done. And that's where my mind is right now, guys. That's where my mind is, and that's why I've been trying hard to be positive. And that's why I want to stay in touch with those that I care about, because I don't want to leave this world because of a heart attack or because of cancer without at least having closure, and communicating with those that I care about. And some have, I don't know if they left the country or what happened, but some of them that used to talk to me years ago, I haven't heard from some of them in over a year, some even 2 years. I have no idea. I don't know if they're even still in the country. I know I've heard some that were going to move here and there. And part of me was thinking about just moving out of the country and going to like another in Mexico or something. I don't know. A part of me was thinking that maybe I don't need to be in the United States. Maybe I need to move out of the country and maybe just move on an island somewhere and live off the land, like be homeless. I don't know. I'd rather be homeless on an island somewhere than be stuck here in society in this part of the world where, the homeless get disrespected and, looked down upon. Or you live somewhere in an island on, somewhere out of the country, you might as well, like, you got other people living out there in huts and stuff, living off the land. Everybody treats you with respect, right? But we'll see. The ultimate thing is to have my own garden so I don't have to worry about the inflation of vegetables and stuff, right? Fruits and vegetables. I would need to have a way to get some fish, right? If I can find a way to sustain living without worrying about not being able to put food on a table, that would be the ultimate plan, right? Try gardening around here. Animals eat up your garden. The sun is a little bit stronger here. Things dry out. You got to use more water. You got to be careful because if you use too much water, they send you a notice saying you're using excessive water, and then they're going to give you a fine for using too much water. So it's like, then your water bill jumps up. So you can't win, really. So you could spend a lot of money on watering your vegetables and then do some math and see if you break even or if you still come ahead. It depends, right? But I really would rather have my own vegetables, my own fruits, so I know that there's not chemicals in there and all this other stuff that can cause cancer. Especially when you're having the mindset that I have, especially as someone who used to live here, died of cancer. And so that just puts the fear in my head even more. And I'm like, what did I just do? What did I just get myself into? Is this the karma that I'm dealing with? Because I had the best of intentions moving down here when it came to a career opportunity and potential, improving my, the quality of life by being able to afford better health care and sustain healthy eating so that I can stay in shape and try to be as healthy as I can, not just for me, but for others in my life, so I could be there for others. And I don't know why it does that. And what the hell just happened? And so I gotta be around. I can't just, let myself go all, my health go to hell, right? So healthy eating, sustaining healthy foods is very, very important. And keeping a good mental health is important, but I feel like that I've been robbed of my happiness and my sense of security. I feel like I've been robbed of my health, all because of my decisions, which led me to end up having to move down here. I have a lot of regrets. It's kind of like, yeah, it all seemed good in the beginning. Yeah, you can keep in touch with friends and family. You can visit friends and family. You have the best of both worlds. You have a good job. You have, you at least start to have some stable income. Opportunities are right around the corner. Things will work out. And then all of a sudden you get thrown a curveball. You lose your job because they tell you got to go 200 miles further this way and tell you can stay in a hotel with someone. They're going to pay for the hotel, but then you got to stay in a hotel and you're never home. And then you're only home like one day on the weekend. It's like, and you're not even getting paid but $2 an hour more. You're like, you're kidding me? That's like, I thought I was going to get double that wage, and I wasn't even considering to have to be away from home and then have to pay someone to do all the maintaining of the property because, HOA, you can't just be away and let your grass go to hell. They'll give you fines and everything else. Plus you got to keep your house clean on the outside. keep your driveway pressure washed and all these things. So there's a lot of things you can't just leave behind. So the opportunities didn't work out. That's why I'm where I am, having the mindset that I have, with the regrets and feeling like I made a big mistake. And I don't want to really mix, because if I start talking about paranormal, then it start to sound like everything else just, then it seemed like everything else is far from reality. So I try not to talk too much about paranormal when I'm talking about other things, because I'm trying to keep as real as I can. And I know some people, once you bring up paranormal, then they automatically think everything else is like too far from reality. But everything is like, I am dead on with reality. I mean, or I drop, God rest you, whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is, give me the Holy Bible. I'm swearing, I'm swearing on it right now that I'm giving you my heart and soul in my true feelings, But I know if I start talking about paranormal, it's like then things are going in another direction, and then I feel like I lose credibility, And I'm not here to bring two subjects up, even though I did kind of mention some of the mysteries and the mysterious sounds that I hear in the attic. I didn't get into too many details because I'm trying to separate that from what's happening in my life based on the recent decisions and past decisions. So I'm always like thinking like, what could go wrong now? Like, with the house, like this happened, that happened. If anything else happened, I wouldn't be able to fix it. Not until I could find a way to make money to be able to afford to fix the problem. So anything big happens, I am pretty much forced to sell immediately at a loss. Because there's no way I'm going to recoup anything back, especially with the housing market falling, because it ain't going up right now, even though it is up a lot more than it was. But for some reason, for taxes, they're up, because it's like the timing for the taxes and the timing for the housing market, it's like there's like a 6-month delay or something going on. It's almost like it's behind. So when taxes go up and when the property values go up, the taxes go up, right? But if, say, next week they drop a whole lot, well, the taxes are still stuck for many months at the high. So it may be 6 months to maybe even a year before it goes to where it's supposed to be. So it takes a while to catch up. So it sucks because, you sell at a loss with all that you put into it. And every time you put money into the house, it may increase your taxes that you owe on it, because it gets, the permit gets reported with the county, and then it increases the value of your home, which then means you get taxed more. So if you get a new air conditioning and it costs so much money, you're going to get taxed more. If you do this, you get taxed more. One way, it's like you're paying indefinite taxes on something that you should only pay taxes on just one time. It's a scary world, guys. Holy crap, this thing is making my fingers so damn numb. Oh, yeah. All right, RV, no land tax. There you go, Michelle. I am telling you right now, when I drive in the neighborhoods, like when I go to the store or something, and I go to the neighborhoods where I see that there's like cottages and mobile homes, manufactured homes, things like that, smaller homes, I'm thinking, wow, I know some people might be like, oh, well, they might drive fast through there because their mind might think, oh, it's got to be a bad neighborhood. It's got to be drugs. It's got to be like, it's a low income, whatever. But I don't think that way. When I go through a neighborhood where there's smaller homes and there's like, manufactured homes, I'm thinking about, wow, what a simple life. They probably, you think about this, it's like, they don't have all the responsibilities of higher house payments, right? Or higher taxes. It's like the simplicity of things where, there's more security. Like when you have a smaller home and it's not that expensive, it's like, wow, there's people that may be in a position where they can, be able to live a great, happy life, right? But not have all these large bills hovering over their shoulders. So it's like, wow, looking at that, it's like, man, they may not have a big house, but they're probably living more and they're happier because they don't have all those financial obligations that come with having a bigger home. And I feel like when you don't have that weight on your shoulder, you can be happier. I want to be happier. I don't want this weight on my shoulder. As much as I love this place, as much as it gives me some comfort, it kind of reminds me of the home I had when I was living with family. That's why I tried to make this home look like that. I just can't be happy knowing that I don't have the means to continue keeping this home and support my lifestyle, that I need to be more conservative when it comes to housing. And I should have done this to begin with. That's one of my regrets. I should have just moved straight into a one bedroom, consider I'm only one person. But in my heart, I wanted to get a bigger house than a one bedroom, but a much smaller house than what I was living in so that I can be able to afford to at least live. But in my heart, I wanted to have a bedroom for each kid that I brought into the world. So if I had a 3 bedroom, I wanted to have, if they ever had to move back, there was a bedroom for each one of them. That was where my mind was going. It was like family or close friends. If close friends wanted to spend time and visit, or family wanted to visit, or family, say you had a family member that wanted to move in or had to move in for whatever reason, that I was able to accommodate that to have the room. I mean, I have ADA compliant toilets in this house. I have so many things that are catered towards anybody. So it's like I leave options open. And that's where my heart has been when getting this place. It's not just about me. I wanted to leave those options open so that if there was any situation that involved someone close to me having to move or needed me, that I'm here and I have the room for them. That's why I got this place. That's why it had to be a 3 bedroom. It's not like I really need 3 bedrooms. Like, do I really need another bedroom? Like, I got an office right here. This is my office right there. So, do I really need all that? Not for me, because this is not just about me. It never has been. That's just the way it is. Never has been. It goes deeper than me. But some people may just think, oh, well, Bobby, you got this place. You're not thinking about anybody else but yourself. Like, because then you could have splurged on more of this and that. But I think, I look at it this way. I provided an environment, a home that was everybody's, and I provided, vacations and time with friends and family that I tried to create as many moments as I can and try to live it up. And maybe there was times that I was like pushing for vacations just to have more time with family and friends, because I feel like sometimes it takes a vacation to spend more time with people, because when you're not on vacation, there's like a distance, even if you're in the same community or same home, it just feels like there's a disconnect. But when you're on vacation, it feels like everybody's like having fun and we're connecting better. And so that was a main draw. And I think sharing a mutual hobby, it's like having a fun hobby together, it kind of creates that connection. And it just brings you together, and it's like it's an experience. It's an amazing thing. It's like, wow, you love this kind of hobby. I love this kind of hobby. Like YouTube's a fun hobby, and music's a fun hobby, and I love playing music. I love playing piano, and so there's a lot of things. If you can be with people who share similar interests, it's like you feel like you're being drawn closer, and you're happy. You're in your element. You're like, wow, we're all experiencing a fun hobby, and then we're going places and experiencing this and that, and we're just enjoying these things. And it's like, it's an amazing experience. And then some people, they don't appreciate those things. Like when you got somebody from the outside looking in, it kind of like a lot of things get taken for granted. Like, there's a lot of things that go behind, a lot of the things that you do in life, right? It's not like everything is just coming easy. No, vacations didn't come easy. I had to work for that, you know? It was not like it was handed to me. And I didn't go on vacation by myself. I brought others because to me, a vacation is not fun if you're not making it a family affair or friends and family. Like I said, friends and family, when they're all the same, when you have a certain kind of connection with people, it all becomes like we're all blood or not, we're family, right? So it's like you try to bring everybody into your world and take them places and just shower them with fun experiences and have those times together, And that's what it's always been about. Like, and I just love to share my happiness and fun with the world, whether it's talking about it or actually taking a camera and recording some of the fun that I have, or the fun that I have with people who are willing to be part of that, social media side of it, like to sharing it on YouTube or TikTok, whatever it may be. Like, especially in a generation where they're already doing those things anyway, and it's like, oh, well, they're just a part of it, and then now we're sharing the same mutual interests, and then it's like, then you feel like, wow, we have something in common. You like Musically or TikTok, what it is now, or you like being creative or reaching out through social media or YouTube, or maybe even just they have that personality where you just like to talk to people or make them laugh or make them feel, happy, whatever it is. It's like when you share that same kind of common interest, it's a magical moment when you collaborate or share a hobby together and then present it to the world and present it to other people, especially when people are out there who may have broken families, may not have the opportunities or the means to do the certain things in life, or maybe they're handicapped or whatever it may be, disabled. And then they're able to live vicariously through others. And then if you're setting that good example and you're showing, the fun, happy moments and like just presenting it to a relevant audience, and like, wow, you feel it's like a magical moment and everybody's so happy. And I've never lost sight of that. My main motivation to continue fun hobbies like that was seeing the happiness in people's eyes. And just seeing that it looks like everybody was just having fun. Yeah, there was times where I got pressured by other people that were out there creating content, and there was competition out there and people would be mean in the comments. And I've dealt with people like in the past when I was doing commentaries on trending topics and just discussing things that was doing really well and kind of growing my channel, because I was into technology and still am. And I was just doing a lot of creative entertainment. It was like, as I call it, my one-man shows, where I'm multiple people. I could become multiple different people and it's just me. And it was doing so good on YouTube. It was blowing up and it was growing and it became like this thing. And I don't know. It's some people out there they were, I guess, taking advantage of the trends, the topics, and they were trying to get rid of the competition. So they're harassing everybody, including harassing me. And it made it so complicated. It made it less enjoyable. But there were certain financial aspects to my commentaries because I was in that niche where, doing commentaries on certain topics brought in people who wanted to invest money into your content by sponsorships, by products, or even, paying for mentioning their products, or just advertiser revenue sharing, you get a percentage. And so that's where money was coming from when I was doing a lot of that kind of stuff. It was like my one man shows. It's like, man, this is good. Like, so it was like I was doing my Google and my content and my faceless content as well, and people kind of had trouble differentiating between what I was doing as bringing success to my channel and kind of having that financial side of it. They kind of had trouble separating that from every other kind of content that I made, whether it's me pulling pranks, me talking about ghosts, or going on family vacations. Like, people kind of got it all mixed up, didn't know what's what. And it's kind of hard to know what's what, because when you're me and you're creative and you're putting your talents out there, and I'm doing like voiceovers and my characters and kind of my web designing and all my other technological experience bleeds into my YouTube hobby. It's like, okay, well, YouTube is just a blanket term for everything. So, you can be successful in your commentaries, your technology content and stuff like that. And, then you may have a lot of views on your other content, but views don't always mean money. And I've said this before. It's the kind of content. It's the exclusivity to certain products and companies. They usually target certain kinds of content creators, and that's how it is. I very seldom ever endorse toys. You know what I mean? So it was not like that. I mean, we had a couple of scooters and stuff like that, but did I ever get the scooters? I mean, those scooters, was like, I rode them around a couple times. It was just everybody's scooter, whoever wanted to play with the scooters. But I mean, yeah, there's a couple things. Then I had a camera, and then I gave that away, like I said, it wasn't everything. And there we go again. But yeah, the financial, I guess, the bigger financial side of that part of the hobby was when I was doing those commentaries, and we had these women out there who were like flaunting their assets, like cleavage, and just manipulating the YouTube algorithm, and then harassing people like me who were getting a lot of views and sponsorships and brand deals, and companies were paying for my content. They were trying to get rid of the competition. And that was ongoing for many years. And I started getting stressed and anxiety, thinking, what, this was becoming supplemental income, and I'm not gonna be able to pay the rent because these women are doing this to me, and so I focused on other avenues of YouTube, like, oh, I'll just get into skits or something, or do something funny, maybe pull a prank. Do skits or something, maybe something funny, or pull a prank. My battery died it's dying. So it was all fun, whatever. I always, my main intention with YouTube is always to have a fun hobby, to reach out to the world and in hopes to make a better difference for anyone, like anybody out there who watches, to make a better difference. And then see the happiness on people's faces when they would see me out and about, or anyone in my life who shared that hobby with me, if they were with me at the time, and the magic happened. And I was like, and that's why there's YouTube, and that's why this is created, and that's why I'm uploading this, and that's why we're doing this, because it was not just about the fun we were having. I mean, I try to speak for myself most of the time, because, yeah, I know that I was having fun, but other people can give the illusion that they're having fun, but then you can't read people's minds. So then you think they're having fun, and then you might learn later that it wasn't as fun as you thought they were having. But you can't go back and change that. You can only just accept the fact that, maybe it should have ended sooner than later, or earlier than, it's like one of those things. It's like, if I step on your toe, yell at me. If I accidentally step on your foot, yell at me. Don't just hold it in and not say anything. So if going on, vacations, or if you were to go with me on vacations and you got tired of it, say something. I'm tired of this place. Don't just keep tagging along and looking like you're having fun, and when you're tired of it, or if, like, you'd say, hey, let's make a video. We want to go here and do this. It sounds like fun. And I'm like, yeah, it's fun. And then we have fun doing all that. And it's like, a few years goes by and it's like, let's do this, let's do that. Okay, we're fun. And then you later learn that a while back they were just tired of it, but they still did it. But then you're wondering, well, the moment that you were just losing interest, speak up. I mean, I know some people, it's like this. What if you're doing a puzzle with someone, and so you have a friend who likes doing puzzles, and you're like, you come over to the house, and they're like, hey, you want to do a puzzle with me? And you're like into the puzzles, right? And then maybe a year later, you're like, you're just tired of doing puzzles. But yet they say, hey, you want to do a puzzle? And instead of you saying, no, I don't want to do it, he says, oh yeah, I'll do it. So then you go and do the puzzle with them. But in the back of your head, it's like, I really don't want to do this, but I don't know how to say no. And I just rather just do the puzzle, and at least, my friend's happy. And so that can happen, and you might not even know it, especially if you're not really good at picking up on any kind of body language, because some people can hide that pretty good. So then you don't know where you stand, and you're thinking, oh, they're enjoying doing the puzzles, and then you're happy, like, wow, we're having fun together, we're doing the puzzle, and it's like, wow, this is an amazing experience, yet they're not having fun anymore. But then they don't say it, because maybe they're afraid to say it, or they don't want to hurt your feelings, but whatever it is, they just make like they're having fun, and you don't know for sure anymore at that point. And once you find out, and so that kind of what happens, So you can have the best intentions and want to have the best time with those that you care about, your friends, your family, and they may get tired of a certain hobby, whether it may be YouTube, or it may be a puzzle, or it may be a certain game, or a certain place that you go vacation on, wherever it may be. Is if you cannot read minds, and you're not like really good at reading the body language of everybody, because certain people can kind of hide feelings really good, and you can be an expert and still not detect it, right? And it gets you by surprise, and then you're like, well, if I would have known, I was like, okay, well, don't try to make me happy. I want you to be happy for you, not try to make me happy, because I'm only happy if someone's genuinely happy themselves. I don't want someone trying to make me happy at their expense. I don't want somebody trying to make me happy or pretend that they're happy, No, I want someone to be genuinely happy. And if you're part of a hobby or have an experience or hanging out with your friends, and you see that they're happy, your heart's like, you feel fulfilled, like, wow, this is a great time. But you don't want them to be happy, look happy, but not be happy, because that's not a good experience. That's not the way you want to be, and that's not the way I ever want to be, right? So people could be misunderstood, taken the wrong way, and it kind of bleeds into in my life now, because I have regrets, because I wish that I was more observant on body language and be able to maybe read minds. That would have really solved a lot of problems, But I can't. I'm only human. Nobody's perfect. And unfortunately, you got people out there that are just not the best people. And sometimes people they'll look at those people and then kind of like sets a bad taste in their mouth. And then it's like, YouTube has this stigma. It has its goods, but then people just kind of look at it in a not so good way, and it's like, it's a fun hobby. Yeah, you got people out there that are trolls. You got people out there that harass you. You got to worry about your privacy. You got to worry about stalkers and everything. But when you're extra careful about those things, and you know that you're doing the best you can to provide a fun platform and have fun and be safe, then life goes on, right? I feel like YouTube's been a disruption in my life to some point. I feel like it has its goods and its bads. I just think it's a matter of knowing when to quit, when to move on with something different. even if it's still YouTube, but maybe a different kind of content with YouTube. Like, okay, well, this content was good when it lasted. It was good when when you were having fun experiences and sharing those experiences. That was good when that lasted. And some people have the impression is, oh yeah, you share this on YouTube, but it's all fake, right? You're not really having fun. You're not really, it's just all for show. But that's never been me. Like, when you see me having fun, if we're doing family stuff like vacationing, like whether when I'm with friends and family or with anybody, or you just see, just us or whoever. I don't even know what us is these days. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to just kind of give you an idea. It's it's a real happiness. It's a real intended happiness, because sometimes people can be happy and pretend to be happy, then you don't know it because you can't read minds. But um, the intent was always real. It was always to have those amazing moments together with important people in your life and create those experiences, and be on those vacations and go places and travel places, and provide accommodations and all those things. It was all about just making those great experiences and never ever being selfish whatsoever. And some people may take it the wrong way, thinking, "Oh, this person's selfish. They're not even having fun. It just is all for show. It's all misleading." But that's because other people ruin it for other people. It's kind of like there are laws in place when it comes to like driving and stuff, and people can enforce them more strictly because somebody ruins it because they're speeding through a neighborhood. Now you got speed traps in your neighborhood, so you know it kind of ruins it for other people because now it's taking away law enforcement for more important things. Although speeding could be very dangerous, but I mean there could be some crimes taking place if somebody's robbing a bank and yet somebody ruins it for someone else because they're speeding around the neighborhood, or somebody gets hurt being reckless. So it makes other people look bad. So YouTube can be that way. Just because you have some bad apples out there doesn't mean everybody's a bad apple. I always had the best intentions and being as real and genuine as ever. And I'm not out there to put fake content out there when it comes to happiness. Okay, if other people are part of that content, my expectations are that we're having a good time, and that's where my hopes have always been, and everybody's just in their happy place. And just the stigma from YouTube, it's the way people put themselves out there. Everybody's, I guess, you got a lot of people out there that just make fake content, like in the movies. It's like people are not really on vacation in the movies. They're just for the movie. It looks like they are, but then there's a set. It's all fake. It's just they're not even here. It's just like fake house, fake this. That has not been my life. It's been real, genuine, fun vacations that were shared with the world, and real smiles and real happiness from people who ran into me or those with me during those times. And it was magical, and it's amazing moments. And I just know that there's people in my life that want to want to help others and want to provide happiness in a way, through content or however, even it's helping somebody out, even in person. People, they want them to be happy. And all I ever wanted was just to have a fun hobby that I can share with good friends. And so here I am now. Like, I want to be able to, have fun with my hobbies like music and also YouTube. And I have some friends who have similar hobbies, but it's like I can never spend time with my friends because they're always on road trips, or they're always here and there. I know, unfortunately, family situations come up, and there's no way that my heart goes out to those friends of mine who deal with those things. But I feel like, I have this same kind of passion when it comes to YouTube, but I kind of feel like, life just goes on, and I'm kind of like left somewhere in the distance. And I try to move closer to better business opportunities and better medical care, and also, I just need to be away from the cold winters and be in a better mindset. Not worrying about my house being taken away from debt collectors and medical bills and what have you. So it's kind of the situation that I'm in. So we'll see how long this lasts. Kind of borrow time when it comes to my health, borrow time when it comes to keeping this place. It is what it is, guys. Other than that, this is as real as it's getting. And I know my credibility gets lost when it comes to creepy clown videos, and it comes to some of the over-the-top paranormal stuff that seems unbelievable. But like I said, YouTube platform, it's a combination of all kinds of content. The only thing that I kept real was that was 100% real most all the time. I would say 100% of the time is anything that involved going on vacation with those that I care about. Those are real, genuine, happy moments that I shared. Real happy moments that not only I, but others that were part of it have their own platforms that they shared it on as well. So it was like we were all sharing on our own personal YouTube channels, or what do you call them, musically TikToks, or whatever it may be. Or maybe we had our own personal video that was shared on the same channel, but it was just created by one other, and things like that. So it was just a lot of fun experiences, a lot of great memories, probably a lot of repetitive beach trips. Other than that, I feel like I did the best I can to provide those opportunities and be there. And should I go back in time? If I had the power to go back in time, would I go back in time and change some things? Yeah, I probably would, especially when it comes to reading minds. If I can have the powers to, or at least kind of maybe read into body language a little better, and know when enough's enough. You know what I mean? When it comes to like going certain places, like it's kind of like I said with the whole puzzle. When you have friends come over, and they love doing the puzzles with you, and after a while they get kind of bored of it, and it's like it's not as fun as it used to be. And then you're like sitting there doing a puzzle, and you're like, hey, you want to join me? And they go, sure. But then in the back of their mind, it's like, I'd really rather be doing something else and not this puzzle, but I'm doing this puzzle to make this person happy. And so I'm not like being awkward or whatever. I'd see. And so it's kind of what kind of situation you get caught up in when you think you're making everybody happy and you think you're doing good. And there's the illusion of that because somebody just doesn't want to hurt your feelings, make you feel bad, or maybe it's repetitive, we're tired of this, but hey, it's still better than being somewhere else and being bored. So I don't know. It's kind of how it is with me. So that's me, guys. It's me with my regrets moving down here away from amazing people. Yeah, I mean, I moved closer to some amazing friends, but that doesn't change the fact that I am far away from amazing people that I've known for much longer. It's just, it's the way life throws a curveball, because just when you think you could be able to be here and there whenever you want, it costs money to be here and there, and you also need to be welcomed. You can't just show up somewhere if somebody doesn't give you an open welcoming. It's like, you want to make sure you're welcomed wherever you go. If you're going to make a road trip that's going to take you halfway across the country, you want to make sure that, you're wanted around for a visit, or, that you're welcome for the visit. You don't want to just impose on anybody. You don't want to drive all that distance and then you're walking into something that's creating more anxiety than you were ever planning for. So it's like when you're dealing with enough anxiety like I am now, you don't need something that's going to trigger a cardiac arrest or a heart attack or a stroke, because when you're in that fine line of that happening, it's like you got to be careful about what you get yourself into, especially when it comes to a job or working with people, and the fears and anxieties, and you don't want to get sick, you don't want to catch this because you don't know what kind of complications it's going to have on your health. You got to be extra careful these days. There's too many things going on right now, like banks crashing, banks falling out. What is this country now gonna go into a big default? What's going to happen then? Scary world, I'm telling you. Who's out here in the chit chats? Probably need to get my special glasses. The process of losing my home made me cry too. I was homeless for a time as a result. Made me cry. I don't want to see you go live. I know it sucks. Like, I see people out there on the streets and I want to help them, but I don't know who's scamming or who's not, because there's scammers out there that pretend to be homeless and they're not. And and your heart's in one place, but then I cannot afford to be as generous as I used to be. I used to be so generous. I mean, I don't know. You can't really equate generosity with the amount you give. I think it's more about what your heart feels at the time, and what you're giving, what kind of impact that has on you financially. Because $10 can have a bigger impact when you're in a financial situation like I am. And for some people, $100 can have less of an impact than $10 on another person. It depends on everybody's situation. I tell you what, if I ever won the lottery, after paying all the taxes on my wins, I'd be able to be in a better position to be generous, And I always feel like money is the root of all evil. I feel like sometimes you lose touch with people, or, friends, what have you, over money, whether it's the amount of money you earn, how you earn your money, whatever it may be. I feel like it could come between people in your life. It just can be that wall, you know what I mean? It could be a wall, and it's like, if money did not exist, and it was just being able to have good times with your family and your friends without having to worry about anything else but just having fun, that would be a great world, because it's all I ever wanted, is to have fun with my family. No matter what, it was always about going places with them and having fun with my friends, my family, you name it. That's the magical moment. Money is it's irrelevant, but of course it costs money to do those things. So you gotta hustle, you gotta work hard at it to make the money to do those things. And the driving factor is the continuation of providing that lifestyle. So you don't want it to end, because you want to continue to bring happiness. And I know sometimes your mind wanders thinking, wow, money is not happiness, but money affords you vacations that create those memories. And then that brings happiness. It's a shame we just can't do all these things and not worry about money. Just do it and have fun. Oh, you want to go here? We'll go here. And it's live in a free world, Just have all these fun times together and not worry about nothing. Money don't make the world go around. You happy. Absolutely. And he deserves to have some peace. It doesn't seem like he can get that on all his own. His thoughts are consuming him. Am I wrong? Absolutely, Sierra. My thoughts are consuming me. I'm in my own prison in my home of all these thoughts and fears and anxieties that are not only eating at me emotionally, it's taking a physical toll on my body. And anything that I have going on with my health is only getting worse because of all these anxieties and fears and what I call some kind of punishment that I'm going through for just making, I guess, the decision that led me to living here. I guess it's kind of the way I look at it. I feel like, okay, this is it. You decided, life had to be down here. Well, here's what you're going to deal with. And I kind of want to reverse that decision. I wish I have to go back very far and reverse a lot of decisions that would have prevented me from having to sell my house to begin with, and prevent me from having fears of losing my house, which pushed me into selling my house. And if I could have prevented all that, I'd still be where I was. That would have been the ultimate. But things don't last forever. Jobs don't last forever. Income doesn't last forever. Your health doesn't last, forever. Things happen. So that's why I'm here. I was trying to get out from under an avalanche that was ready to begin, and I didn't want to get buried under it. So I did. I downsized, and now I got to downsize again because I screwed up with the math and didn't foresee the implications financially of doing this move. I should have downsized a lot more so that I could have had more cushion to live off of until I was back on track financially. Because I had a good start. Things didn't go good with the job. Things didn't go good with my whole career opportunity with a friend of mine. At least it's taking forever. It's like very inconsistent right now. And so all this is just not the way I thought it was going to be. So now it's overkill. It's too much for me. Too much. I'm holding on to something, and nobody probably will ever want to move in with me anyway. I think maybe I'm poisoned now. I'm the unwanted list. Unwanted, like nobody wants to be around me because I have too many problems. Like I, don't want to, it's like, don't want him dragging me down emotionally. He's too negative, whatever it may be. Maybe I'm just so misunderstood about a lot of things. So, there's that as well. It's almost like I have a lot less friends than I thought I had about a year or so ago. There's a big disconnect with some people in my life. And it seemed to happen over the last 1 or 2 years. And I just don't know. I just feel like moving here has also created more disconnect from more people in the recent time, since moving. So I try to figure out the timeline, and I say, well, Thanksgiving came, Christmas came, right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Somehow there was a wall that came up, and communications went one way from me. It went from me out, but nothing was reciprocated. And from that point, I was like, well, what the hell did I do? Other than I know I made some mistakes that resulted in me living here under the stressful mindset that I have about all the things happening and all the unfortunate things that happen. And I know there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of unfortunate things and a lot of health problems and financial uncertainties. And it's like, some people think that I'm spoiled. I don't know, maybe because they see me in a house that looks neat and tidy and modernized, but it doesn't mean anything if I'm not happy. It doesn't mean anything if I cannot afford to keep it. It's given the wrong idea. It's given the wrong impression. It's like people are thinking, oh, well, he's fine, but yet I'm not. I am not. I thought I was going to be fine. I thought making this place like this was going to be fine, but I didn't realize the financial repercussions of trying to get it this way without a job to substantiate the expenses. I lost that opportunity. Things didn't work out like I planned. And I guess that's been my life lately. I feel like everything's just not working the way, it's just, this happens, that happens. Yeah, when you don't have money, for the most part, you don't have friends. And especially if you had friends when you had money, and then you don't have money, and then your friends disappear. I've had that happen before. Usually it's the women friends. That's kind of how that happens. I don't know, unfortunately. But that's my situation that I'm in, guys. So If you want to know the big mistake I made, it's probably the mistake I made that led me to where I am now. So we'll just see how long I can pull through this situation with my health. And I got a colonoscopy next week. Got more medical diagnostics. It's going to be some more intrusive things going on, which is invasive, I guess. It's just not good. But the anxieties of the unknown and the anxieties of already thinking I have cancer, already thinking, that if I push myself too hard, my heart's going to just stop working and I drop to the ground and it's the end of life. It's like those fears are so real and so overpowering that I'm not enjoying myself right now. I'm just not happy. I can't keep living this way, so I have to do something to be in a better mindset, because I am not going to just give up. If I find out I have cancer, I'm going to fight like hell to survive, even if I have 3 years left. I mean, I got to do what I got to do to survive and try to, and I don't know if I'm going to change my mindset and try to, find hope that, there's longevity, because, you feel like your days are numbered once that happens, right? When you get diagnosed with cancer. And having an abnormal ECG, and the doctor said I had a heart attack. And I'm like, well, okay, you have a heart attack. So that means the likelihood of having another heart attack increases after the first one. So then the mortality can increase. So then now it's a higher risk. So now it's like, now I'm like walking on eggshells, and that's a scary feeling. I know you have people that, there's people in the world that are having debilitating health conditions that limit their mobility and stuff like that, and it's a gradual decline, right? And it's so heartbreaking and emotional, and it just eats at your heart. It's just heartbreaking, right? And then you have these things that just kind of creep up out of nowhere. It could be something that creeps up on you in a year, and you can have pre-existing health anxieties, and then this one just amplifies that 100x. And then you find out you had a heart attack, and then you're feeling heart palpitations, your heart rate's all over the place, and there's weird things are happening in your body, and you know what's happening, why you feel like water is splashing on you, why you're itching out of nowhere, why your body's twitching, muscles are twitching everywhere, and why you're getting hot flashes and night sweats and fevers out of nowhere, and why you're having pain in your chest and your mid back and numbness in your arms, and like all these things are happening to me. I'm like, well, what the hell's going on? Losing weight without even trying, and then feeling lightheaded at times, especially if I'm sitting down and getting up, and I'm like, what is happening with me? And swelling lymph nodes, and it's just all these things happen, and it's got me wondering if I'm even going to be here next year. So if anybody who's wishing bad, like anybody who's mad at me and has any beef with me, maybe they'll get their way if I die in a year or so. Maybe they'll be happy. I don't know. It's kind of how I feel with some people in this world. They just kind of lose touch with you, like they don't care about you anymore because maybe somebody was manipulated, and how somebody can just like give you the wrong impression about somebody, because it's all misinformation, because everybody gets the wrong idea, because nobody, God forbid, if you come to the person, if somebody says something, why don't you come to the person and address whatever was spoken? Because sometimes opinions can hurt. Sometimes somebody's point of view, especially if it's misinformation, because some people just like say something because they've had a bad life, bad experience, and then they just think everybody's out to get you. Everybody's a bad person. So all it takes is that one person to manipulate or get into someone else's head about somebody. And maybe they just have bad intentions. Maybe it's because they're jealous. Maybe it's because they have a sense of entitlement. Whatever it may be with certain people, it's just that if they want to be that kind of person, they'll just make you look like the devil or a demon. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. So you can have a good friendship. Like I remember being in high school. I only had maybe one or two friends, but I was in elementary school. I wasn't around anybody. Like I was afraid of other kids because they always picked on me. But I started coming around in high school, right? And you have people that kind of get into their groups, and you have some people that get like jealous, and then it's like they try to sabotage your friendship and try to turn your friends against you. And so that you once had a friend, and then all of a sudden they go jabber jaw into running their mouths, and then all of a sudden your friend is no longer your friend. I'm like, what the hell did I do? Oh, because they run their mouth. They're just saying a bunch of crap because they want to ruin a friendship. And you get that through social media. You get that to people that make rude comments in YouTube videos or TikTok. People are out there. Not everybody's out there for the best intentions. Some people are out there to just make other people miserable. And so you can have somebody that could go out there in social media and badmouth someone, and then somebody else will just avoid them because, oh, I heard, this, oh, they lied about this, or, whatever it is. There's a lot of people like it when it comes to this. People will call you a liar. Oh, well, yeah, this didn't happen. He's just trying to get sympathy about, this or whatever, Really, I'm not the kind of person who will pretend that I have cancer. I'm not a kind of person who's going to pretend I have some kind of terminal illness. But if I think I have it, if I think I have some kind of terminal disease, I'm going to share my fears and my uncertainties. Battery's dying. I'm going to share my fears and uncertainties and anxieties with the world. Doesn't mean that I am being misleading. It doesn't mean that I am trying to get sympathy. Like, oh, I'm not pretending that I'm sick. I'm not pretending that I'm financially struggling. This is like really me. I am dealing with this stuff. And you got people that will say other, like, oh, it's just all for show, and then makes me look bad. And then people stop talking to me because, oh, he's not really sick. Oh, he's not really financially strapped, because that's their opinion. They don't know what the hell's really going on with me. I know what the hell's going on with me, and right now I'm in fear of losing everything, and I've got to make my decisions up on what the hell I got to do in my life. And I made some bad choices that led me to where I am now, even though it may look like I have everything I ever wanted. It's not sustainable in my realistic situation. This is just a temporary thing if I don't get a real high-paying job that can support this lifestyle. Because this is my way of downsizing, but it wasn't downsizing enough, and I was trying too hard to hold on to what I had to have a sense of comfort, to make it seem like it was the same place I was sharing with my family, because I wanted to have a sentimental feel to where I live. And so that's why I took it to this level, and at an expense that I cannot cover and recoup. And I didn't think I was not going to be able to handle electrical job. I didn't think I was going to be too slow. I didn't realize how fast these people work in this stuff. I didn't pass their test in speed, so I didn't get that high salary position. No, just $2 extra, and they want me to go 200 miles away. The thing with my friend didn't really work out as I planned, but I get impatient. I know that maybe it's going to take a lot more time, but I feel like I don't have much time on my hands, and it's got to happen now, not later. So something has to change positively in a beneficial way for me to stay here within the next year. Something has to change with my source of income, my job. I have to land something successful something has to work out for me to stay here, because I can't just stay here for free. Well, they're going to say, "Oh, don't worry, it's okay. You don't have to pay bills. You're just going to stay. We're just going to give you free food, pay your electric bill, going to pay all your credit cards off, pay your house, your monthly house expenses, everything associated with living in a house. We're going to pay everything, your HOA, you name it, the taxes, the insurance. Pay all those loans." Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to pay it for me, and so I can stay here. That's not going to happen. That's not the reality of this. I got to look out for myself in order to survive. And for many years, have been looking out for everybody. Everybody that was living with me, we were all in it together, and I was providing for everybody. But now that I have been pushed to live by myself, unfortunately far away from people that I care about, I'm in a very lonely and dark place, very sad place. But I do want to pursue happiness. I am not the person who's just gonna give up on everything. I'm a fighter, man. I'm a fighter. I just don't see me getting a job sustainable enough. Something that's going to provide sustainable enough income to keep what I have. That's why I'm getting rid of my Tesla. It's a car that I have no business keeping. It's only a misleading kind of car. It just gives people the wrong idea. It makes people think that I have money when I don't want people to get the wrong idea. And then I feel like when I have somebody that has to do work on the house, because a lot of things you have to get done by a licensed contractor. You can't just do it yourself, otherwise you're not in compliance with the county, or you lose your coverage on insurance. And if they see a Tesla, they're going to probably give you a higher estimate. I've already had this done. I've tested this out, because I've had one contractor who was supposed to help me with the roof ventilation, and they did an estimate over the phone, right? And it was like $1,500. I'm like, okay, well, either that or my whole roof's going to get damaged. It's going to cost $20,000 to replace tiles. They get fried from the sun. We need the attic ventilation, plus the air conditioning is going to be running higher and making the electric bill higher. And so I'll get that back in savings, right? So I'll just put that on a credit card. Well, here's the situation. When they got here, they saw the Tesla. Shame on me. I should have hit a damn thing. And they said, "Oh, nice car." They said something like, they always wondered how fast they are and all that. And then I was talking about the speed and all that. And then he walked around the house and said, "Well, the estimate's going to be different than what I said on the phone, because I, underestimated some, how much soffit you need to ventilate the roof. And, I underestimated, what size fan you would need to ventilate the attic, depending on what route I went." And so the estimate was $1,000 more than it was on the phone. And so my assumption is because they saw my Tesla and they figured that I could afford more. And no, I have a Tesla that I cannot afford to pay the insurance on. And the fact that I have it means I cannot afford as much as I could afford if I sold it and had extra money that I would save by not having all those expenses having that Tesla. So people got it all backwards. Oh, he's got a Tesla, he can afford that. No. Oh, he's got a Tesla. There's no way he can afford that, because that Tesla is going to cost him much more money than just a little old Honda. So I'm telling you, people are out to scam you. It's like, if they think you have more money, they will try to charge you more money to do work on your house. So you got to be careful about that kind of stuff. Don't let people take advantage of you, But that's going to be a problem solved, because I already have an offer when I submitted it online, and that's going to kind of fix my kind of credit situation, because when you start taking out loans for this and that, and it's just ridiculous. It adds up. So that's going to be one less thing to worry about. And then I'm going to get me a little Toyota, a little Yoda, an affordable car, just a used one. It's going to be something that's economical, and I don't have to worry about it blowing up and catching on fire in my garage and burning my house down while I still have the house, That's kind of how where things are going right now. Yeah, let's see. I got Jennifer out here. We've got God. Life is still here. God help. Thank you so much. My RV is the first home I ever owned. See, there's the simple things in life. Simplicity. Being humble is better than being a rich, snobby, spoiled person. You know, when I lived a life where I was making good money, I walked around wearing tank tops. I didn't go dressing up fancy suits and, trying to impress people. Like, I just wore what I wore. I didn't go out of my way to look fancy. You know, that money went into vacations that involved others being with me. That money went into the home that I provided. It went into so many things that just created a lifestyle and experience. Here we go again. So that's kind of where I stand. There you go, Hyundai, huh? But you guys are amazing. I experienced some things. I learned some things about the sounds outside. So that's the nighthawk that does this sound. When it's swooping down, it makes that loud roar. It's basically a sonic sound. It's kind of like a fighter jet when it's breaking the sound barrier. So there we have it. That's pretty much what's happening. What does it say? Can anyone hope the rest you have wonderful evening? Stay blessed. Someone please help this man and get him through. Thank you so much, Clara. Right now, I mean, I've turned closer to God. I still have trouble with going to church because I still have my anxiety of being around people in a closed space because, people mention the word COVID and I'm like freaking out about it. And maybe I should be getting over it. But then a part of me is like, if I'm not able to be around anybody who's vulnerable because I feel like, I'm kind of trapped here, am I really going to put anybody at risk if I catch it? Because I don't go around anybody. I'm kind of like live here alone. So it's not like if I did catch anything, I'm going to give it to anybody. And it'd be my problem if I did catch anything and I end up dying of a complication because of it. But I mean, I survived several times of catching COVID and I'm still here. So I don't know. Just always didn't want to get someone else deathly sick from it. And that was my main worry. But if I'm not around anybody, then I guess I just got to get over the other fears, that come with it. But yeah, I feel like I just need to get that. I've been invited by some of my good friends, so I need to step into the church and sit in the pew and do that. Tina G, thank you for being here and being a member for 33 months, helping support this channel. See, it's great. There's still members here that are still members of my channel because you guys who are still members believe in me. You have faith in me, and you know where my heart is, and you know that the reasons I'm out here uploading content. This is more than just making videos or doing live streams. This is connecting with the world. It's changing lives. It's providing entertainment. It's taking away some of the loneliness that I have while improving the quality of other people's lives through the entertainment and the connection. And of course, the biggest thing for me is going outdoors and exploring the nature around me, the wild animals, the beauty, the flowers, the nature preserves, the fresh air. All that is very therapeutic for me. It helps me cope with being alone. It helps kind of get my mind out of the dark and depressing places that just amplify the health anxieties and just take a toll on your body, both emotionally and physically. So I always put as much effort as I can into my physical health and getting outdoors and eating healthy and just being one with nature, because I always trust nature. Nature is not judgmental. The animals, the wild animals, are not going to judge you. They might be afraid of you because they don't know you. but they're not going to judge you, right? The trees are not going to judge you. The birds are not going to judge you. It's when you deal with certain people, there's people out there that judge you based on their life experiences, their ways, or the impression they have of you based on what others say about you or what others perceive you as. And then their way of thinking can rub off on someone else. And so people can just, I don't know. Like I say, never judge a book by its cover. And not everybody's the same. And just because one person does something for a certain kind of reason doesn't mean that everybody is doing the same thing for the same reason. Everybody has different reasons why they do certain things in life. And everything I've ever done in life has always been, to have the best life experience and provide those around me with the best life experience and be as happy and as healthy as they can ever be, and feel that just the power of love and happiness. That's just me. Maybe I'm a rare person. Is there less people in the world that are like this, or then people just assume that if you're being nice that it's not genuine? Because whenever I'm nice to somebody, especially if it's someone I care about, it's like me. I'm genuine. I might not be a very affectionate person, but if you even have the time of day for me, that's a lot coming from me. That's a lot. And so that should weigh more. It should weigh more than someone who may be overly affectionate that, may increase the expectations of some kind of, I guess, reassurance. For me, it's like, just getting any kind of my attention and me just giving you time of day. I feel like that, to me, that's, I don't give just anybody time of day. I'm very kind of selective of who I want to talk to in my life and who I want to become close with. That's just me. And if you're in my circle, and then that means that you've come a long way in my life. You're a big part of my life if you're in my circle. But anyway, I got to get out of here. My phone's about to die, and I don't want this live stream hung up on anything. But you guys are awesome. I'm glad you were able to be out here. It's been a long live stream. I mean, I was talking about, I was trying to clarify this crazy sound and tell you that it was a nighthawk that's making that weird chirping sounds and a real deep roof sound. And that's what it is. And as far as what's going on in my attic, like I said, they came by, they didn't see anything. I had people like here coming and going, contractors checking things out, getting estimates, but cannot afford to get the jobs done. So, I'm just getting estimates to see what it's going to cost. So when I do make enough money, instead of putting everything on my credit cards, that at least I can do it. Because this is like this. You can only put so much in your credit card before you end up having to pay the credit card back, because you got to pay it back every month. So if you're juggling around credit cards and you're paying one off with the other and the other and the other, eventually, when you kick that can down the road, there's going to be the end of the road. And once you get to, you got to make sure you don't end up at the end of the road. You got to keep on kicking that can until you're able to replenish with income instead of borrowed money, because borrowed money only goes so far. I mean, if you invested in the stock market and you do good, then you use that winnings to pay off your credit cards, and then that works because that's considered earned income, right? I was lucky for a while. I was making out like a bandit in the stock market, which was contributing to a lot of my success too. And so, but I didn't go broadcasting that, telling everybody, oh yeah, I invested in Apple stocks and this like 10, 15 years ago and 20 years ago, I did this investment and I made money. I just kept a lot of stuff on the low down because I didn't want people to think I was a gambler. Because, a lot of things I was doing like day trading. I would buy something and sell the stock like the next day or same day. And I was like swing trading. It's like, I just, people don't like, I don't know. I feel like that maybe you don't get the same respect if they think you're like day trading or messing around with stocks or buying crypto. You just, when you have success, you just kind of leave that out of everything, but then you just kind of focus on the other things, But I got to get out of here, guys. You are amazing, and I hope you stay safe, and I'm going to have some actual content on here. I know I said it before, but like I said, life has threw me a curveball, and I just been in a very not so good place, and I still am. I'm just trying to cope with everything, and I'm not giving up on things. I'm not just going to be the one that's just going to throw in a towel. I'm a fighter, so do what I got to do to survive in this crazy world that we live in. But anyway, guys, you're amazing. Have a safe Memorial Day. Try to get I got some content where I'm actually out and about. I just have to edit it. I have to just be able to just get a clear mind. Editing takes a lot of, just me sitting down and trying to put things together. But I got to go before this battery dies and leaves me in limbo or purgatory, whatever you want to call it. But that's going to be it. I hope there ain't no bugs in here. That was another problem. I had to get an exterminator. That's a whole other situation. But I got to get out of here. Stay safe, everybody. I'll read your comments later. So also be sure to comment under this live stream after it's processed. I read through the comments. Feel free anytime to come back. I will read them. If I haven't read them now, I'll read them later. But take care. Be safe. Got to get my blue blockers on. All right, guys. I'm gone.